Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, the creator and host of the award-winning podcast that you're listening to right now. Thank you so much, called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. It is a daily podcast, 365 days a year, and each day we talk to an author about all of the things related to their career, their book, their life, and more in 30 minutes or less, because who has time? I am now an author myself, although I wasn't when I started this podcast, and you can get my new memoir, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, wherever books are sold starting July 1st, and my children's book, Princess Charming. You can learn more about me at zibbyowens.com, but really you're here to learn more about the authors, and that is what we're going to do. Also, be sure to check out all the other podcasts in the Zcast Podcast Network. You can learn more at zcastnetwork.com and definitely check out those shows as well. I hope you'll all check out the all-new Zibby Mag, Zibby-Mag, the literary lifestyle destination with essays, book news, a lit lifestyle feature, and even some classes. Check it out, zibbymag.com. Meryl Wilsner is the author of Mistakes Were Made, a novel. Meryl writes happily ever afters for queer folks who love women. They are the author of Something to Talk About and Mistakes Were Made. Born in Michigan, Meryl lived in Portland, Oregon, and Jackson, Mississippi before returning to the Mitten State. Some of Meryl's favorite things include All Four Seasons, Button-Down Shirts, The Way Giraffes Run, and Their Wife. Welcome, Meryl. Thank you so much for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books to discuss Mistakes Were Made, a novel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
This was like the kind of book where I opened it up and I was like, okay, we're going there. Oh my gosh. And I was like, I'm like sitting reading with my glasses like, oh, okay. Very steamy beginning.
As we like to say, we start off with a bang.
Yes.
Quite literally. This book actually began as long ago as fan fiction. And it was just supposed to be a little steamy one short. That first chapter was just the whole thing. That was all that was going to happen. And then I had friends sort of poking me like, hey, what if other things happened in this? And suddenly now I have a book.
Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, it's like, why don't you tell listeners what your book is about?
Yeah. Let's start there. Mistakes Were Made is about a college senior who has a one-night stand with an older stranger who she meets at a bar. And the next morning she goes to breakfast with her best friend and her best friend's mom, who it turns out is the older stranger that she had the one-night stand with. Obviously, that should be the end of it, but what my friends poked me about to continue was, what if she goes home and visits over winter break? So we sort of continue from there. And yeah, it's definitely a high heat romance. I think we've been calling it a raunch-com.
Oh, I like it. I don't know that I've read a raunch-com before, but maybe now I have to do this more often.
I honestly think that Rosie Danon, the author of The Roommate, I think she sort of pioneered the term for The Roommate. As it's a rom-com, but sometimes when people hear rom-com, they think, low heat, just a cutesy book sort of thing. And so we want to be clear, like, nope, it's high heat.
So do you get embarrassed? You don't get embarrassed like writing about sex and all that?
I did tell my mom she was not allowed to read this book.
Okay.
She already did not comply with that. She has read an advanced copy. So I told her, once I realized she wasn't going to listen to me, when I told her not to read it, I said, okay, you can read it, but you can never speak to me about it.
Oh my gosh. That's
what I have to say. So like when I think about things like that, or like with my first book, which was much, much, much lower heat. It was a slow burn with really one sex scene. Some of my mom's friends in a book club read that book, which was, okay, fine. If that book club reads Mistakes Were Made, yeah, I will be a little bit embarrassed in that regard, but I love to write it. I think it's a lot of fun. So,
well, to be honest, it wasn't. I mean, I don't mean to mischaracterize it as like a complete like sex show. It just, there's a lot of heart to it too. And even, I'm a divorced mom who has to share custody and is dealing with kids who are, away. And you tapped into that too. The like longing for kids, missing kids, how to navigate divorce, and there's a lot in there. You packed in a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely tried to. It's strange because when I first wrote it, I was closer in age to Cassie, the college student.
Yep.
And through various revisions and everything, I'm now closer in age to Erin, the older single mom. And so that has been really, I think, interesting. I think Cassie was probably a lot stronger in, sort of that first draft long ago, because that was more where I was in life. But yeah, I mean, I joke about how many sex scenes it has and how my mom's not allowed to read it and all of that. But I do think that it does have a lot of heart. I certainly hope that it does. And I think that a lot of romance is like that. I think a lot of times romance as a genre can be, dismissed as, oh, this is trashy, or these are just sexy books or whatever, when so much of romance is really, I don't know, groundbreaking isn't the right word, but just sort of important and heartfelt. And there's a lot more to the books than if they were just sexy books, while also at the same time, if they're just sexy books, that's okay too. I grew up with that being taught the literary elitism about romance. And I'm glad to have moved past that and be at a point where I'm like, if all it is a sexy book, that's enough. It's about entertaining people. So, but yeah, I do think that Mistakes Were Made has
book
both.
is not trashy though.
Oh no, I don't think romance. I think in general romance is not trashy, but I think that people are taught that a lot.
I see. Yeah. Wait, so go back a little bit to, so obviously you started fan fiction. Did you always, when did you start writing? When did you start, and have you always been open about your sexuality and all that? Not that it's any of my business, but just wondering.
When did I start writing Mistakes Were Made, or when did I start writing in general?
First in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, when I was teeny tiny. In third grade, we did night writes every Tuesday. And we were given a prompt and we were supposed to write, I don't remember anymore, but it was probably one handwritten page, and I learned to type because I was writing such long responses to these prompts. So, you would be supposed to turn in one handwritten page and I would turn in 4 single space type pages instead. So I've sort of always been telling stories in that regard. And I think in part because I was raised to sort of look down on romance as a genre, and I thought I wasn't supposed to, read or write that sort of thing. I think that's one of the reasons that I did get into fan fiction, is because I was absolutely writing and reading romantic fan fiction, but I didn't have that sort of outside influence of oh, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. So I didn't really realize oh, I'm still in the romance genre, just the fan fiction version of it. And that's where I really, I think, cut my teeth writing, learned a ton, always made friends with people who wrote better fics than I did, and, sort of badgered them about how much I loved their work until we became friends. Some of whom I'm still friends with today, and who still read my work and help me brainstorm and help me make everything better, even now that I'm sort of, moved on from the fan fiction world. So yes, I really learned just so much by writing in fan fiction, and then eventually decided, sort of after looking at the number of queer people in media, especially queer women, who aren't given happily ever afters. That's really what pushed me into focusing more on. I was always also writing original fiction, but that's what pushed me more into focusing on it, just because I recognized that, this is something that's necessary, and this is something that I can do and I want to do and like to do. So that's where I sort of shifted into focusing on original fiction and telling happily ever afters for, I think, as my bio says, I think it's, I write happily ever afters for queer folks who love women. Because, originally I did, I'm non-binary, but I'm assigned female at birth. I sort of grew up within the sapphic community. And that's what I thought I was writing, happily ever afters between women. But I have future books on the table that will also include non-binary characters and things like that. So I've adjusted my bio just a little bit, to just be, happily ever afters for queer folks who love women, because there's just not enough of them, I think, in media.
I love that. Wait, you've piqued my interest in the next book. So what's coming next?
The next book is still 2 female main characters. It is called Cleat Cute. And it is between it is between two soccer players who are both fighting for a spot on the roster for the United States in the World Cup. And they realize that cooperation may be better than competition, both on the field and in the bedroom.
Interesting.
And then my next one after that, which I don't have nailed down yet, I do have a non-binary main character. Will be, and it will be a there was a non-refundable honeymoon that we have to go on together. It's a forced proximity sort of sort of book. Yeah,
I want to try writing one of those. Or like you're all stuck somewhere, or like
right?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of time, and you're all in the same place. Like, I don't know. I think that'd be fun to try.
I like that outside outside pressure.
I'm like, somebody give me an assignment, as opposed to the novel that I am writing, which is like, I wonder where I'm going to get if I win.
I understand that.
Did you ever have trouble like selling this concept, or did you find this very easy to sell? This book, the previous book, like obviously it's so necessary in the market, and you've totally like hit the sweet spot. I'll stop making like, but now my mind is in a bad place, but not a bad place, but you know what I mean?
Just, an innuendo place.
An innuendo place. Yes. Let's say that. So did you ever, did you get pushback? Did you know which publisher to pitch to? Did you have trouble getting an agent, or was it like an easy process for you?
So with Something to Talk About, which was my first book, I did a program called Pitch Wars, which doesn't exist anymore, but it is a writing mentorship program. And got paired up with a great mentor and went through that. And that's how I got my first agent. But sort of all the way through that, my mentor did, I don't know, caution is maybe the right word, to caution me of, there might be less interest just because of the way that the romance world works and all of that. And Something to Talk About came out in 2020 through Berkeley. And it was actually Berkeley's first FF romance in print. So it was, I don't want to say it was groundbreaking, because obviously people have been writing queer romance forever, for long before sort of mainstream publishing was paying attention. But it was their first FF romance in print. And I didn't get pushback. I didn't get pushback on it. I did get my agent. I did get a book deal. The book came out. But I sort of, with Mistakes Were Made, I feel like it's just such a different climate. When Something to Talk About came out, I was desperate, searching for other people who were writing FF and trying and either getting or trying to get published, by sort of, the big five or whatever. Whereas now there's a lot of us, or at least a lot more of us. And so I think that in the time between Something to Talk About and Mistakes Were Made, there has been a real growth of the community. And I think it's a strong community. I like everybody in it. That has been really heartening to see, and I hope that only continues to grow.
Did you have any other titles that you were considering for this?
So I lovingly refer to this book as the MILF book, and I really tried to I spent a long time coming up with titles that would abbreviate into MILF. So I really pushed for Make It Last Forever, just so that I could abbreviate it to MILF every time I talked about it. But I think Mistakes Were Made is the right pick for sure.
You were vetoed on that by the publisher?
I wasn't vetoed. It was included in a variety of options, and everybody really liked Mistakes Were Made. And I love Mistakes
No, I
Were
love
Made.
the title. I love the title. It's just such a great thing. Is this going to be a movie, do you think? I feel like it has
I would love
cinematic.
It too. Please tell Hollywood that.
Right? It's like a total, in the olden days, what's her name? Meg Ryan type thing, but not not Billy Crystal or whatever.
Or Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. I would love that. I would love to see that. I guess fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's great. I can see, I'm sure, well, I don't know. I think it's very visual the way you wrote it. You can see yourself in all these different scenes and restaurants and homes and, even at the end with our little happy ending of sorts. I won't, oh my gosh, there I go again. So when you're not writing, tell me about your life.
Gosh, lately it's all writing because I am on deadline for Cleat Cute. But when I'm not writing, I live with my wife in Michigan. We have a dog and a cat. We don't take our dog out enough and give her enough exercise. So we're constantly trying to, because she is just a ball of energy. But yeah, my mom lives on the shores of Lake Michigan. So we spend a lot of time at the beach, especially now it's the end of summer. I think I've probably swam in the lake for the last time this year, but love being outdoors and hanging out with my family.
Was your book inspired at all by a particular mom of a friend of yours?
It was not. No. I will say, just in terms of you also asking, like, could it be a movie? The characters' looks changed drastically once I realized that I could cast Kobe Smulders, who's from How I Met Your Mother. She's Robin in How I Met Your Mother. Once I realized I could cast her as Erin, if in like a movie version, I leaned into that. I think as I went, but I think in the first draft she maybe had blonde hair, and I just switched everything up as soon as I realized that I could do that. I love to cast, actors or models or whatever in my mind as my characters and go from there.
That's smart. Well, it's neat. I love how you have like smart women, like a doctor and she's going to go work at NASA or something crazy. Like, it's awesome. Like, just letting passion out and like real feelings, and whether it's, what do you call it? FF or F. I don't even know that, or F. It doesn't matter who it is, right?
Yeah.
Like that raw energy coming out on the page. Really great. Really captivating.
Thank you. Yeah. What I try to do, and I did this, with something to talk about as well, I try to give put different types of women on the page, I guess. There's not any one type of woman that I'm like, oh, this is the way to be, you have to be the strong female character, or you have to be this, or you have to be whatever. So just sort of exploring the characters and dynamics between characters of a whole bunch of different women.
Amazing. Do you have any advice for aspiring authors?
For aspiring authors, I always, my sort of number one thing that I say is write the next book. Especially, at least if you are trying to write books and get into publishing, you're always going to have to write the next one. Whether you are, at a querying stage and you don't have an agent yet and you're sending out queries for a book, you're going to need another book to have a career at some point. So start writing the next one while you're sending queries. Or once you have an agent, if you go out on submission to editors, you're going to have another book at some point. So rather than freaking out and being nervous about being on submission, write the next book. And so that's my go-to advice, also for myself, as well as for aspiring writers, of just anytime that you're sort of floundering and feeling lost in anxiety or, this great big world. Of course, be gentle with yourself. I'm not saying you have to produce all the time, but when you don't know what to do next, writing the next book is, I think, often the way to go.
Yes. Or even just trying to finish the one you're working on.
Yes. that is where I am right now.
Amazing. Meryl, thank you so much. Thank you for discussing mistakes were made and for the entertainment and thought-provokingness of the whole book. And yeah, it's awesome. I really wish you all the best. I'm excited for Cleat Cute and I'm going to follow all your titles forever now, because you have like all these, it's great. Really awesome.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me. This was a lovely little chat.
Yes.
And I was really glad to be here.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.